Hi Pisces, welcome to your January reading. Congrats, Jupiter has moved. Feels good. Feels luxurious. Feels very feminine. Very divine feminine right now. Judgment. There are so many truths coming at you, and yes, it's Venus retrograde, but it's also the fact that you have Mercury in Aquarius, and on top of that it's retrograde, so it's right behind you and it's retrograde. It's a lot. All these really hard truths about things that, that are deeply important to you. All these connections, perhaps, that you've had for a long time. And that now, what I have here is that toxic family bonds are re-examined, and the ones that are very, very toxic are probably the ones that come up. Some toxic bonds may even fall apart. So that's okay. The Judgment card is also about how you're dealing with people when it comes to work. You feel like you've done the work and you feel like you are owed a certain amount of money, and there's nothing wrong with that. You should be paid, and that's all there is to it. And maybe you need to tell somebody that. Along with keep up the steady work is keep up the steady savings. Keep up the savings. Even if you feel like you're doing really well, and then, that feeling starts to creep in, like maybe I should buy something, maybe I should just, little something. Don't. It's easy to get overexcited when you feel yourself on your path and you feel everything working for you. It's easy to become overly generous with that Jupiterian energy. We want to stick very closely to our path, and we know it and we feel it and we're on it, and we want to stay right there. Now, for some of you, this right here is about financial abuse, and I know we've talked about that before, but it comes up again, and it's pretty important. If there is a situation where someone is emotionally manipulating you and there's a financial component to it that is coming to the forefront, it wants to be dealt with, it needs to be dealt with. It's really important. I know I keep saying that. It's really important. There's a lot of things happening for you that are very calm and chilled, and they don't have anything to do with anybody else, but they're really important, and they require a lot of time alone. And just like you don't want to connect with anyone right now, you really just want to reevaluate the connections you have and gain some perspective, like why have I attracted what I've attracted? Why am I in something that I know I don't want, or isn't good for me, or takes too much from me? Why have I not been able to stand up for myself and get myself Phone call. Completely lost my train of thought. Sorry about that. Okay. So, staying on that path, not letting the abusive situations continue, but also not judging yourself that they've existed at all. Not judging yourself for the softness of your heart or the generosity of your nature. If you start begrudging yourself that generosity right now, as Jupiter has just moved into your sign, you'll just be fighting yourself all the time. Don't do that. It's about accepting that you are the way you are, and sometimes that means that people take advantage, and that sucks. But it's also about realizing that, you know, you don't have bad intentions, and when people do use you, especially in emotionally manipulative way that ends up financially beneficial for them, when people con you basically and prey on your emotions one way or another, that money comes back to you. That which was taken, it returns, and here it is returning again. So yes, we want to take the time to examine, and we want to take our time alone, and we want to really think about, you know, the truth of our connections. How much was our stuff and how much was their stuff, and with your perspective now, with your intelligence now, what do you see? It's a great time for that. And then I have written here that it's a great time to work with a team and become a lot more open to different routes that the abundance can find you. It doesn't have to be your thing only. It doesn't have to be a solo project. It can be much more expansive, but for that to happen, you have to trust people, and you have to be able to lean on a team. You have to be able to be open enough that people want to help you, and then take that next step of actually asking for help. And then we have the Queen of Swords and the King of Pentacles. From the 14th to the 25th, there are some wounds that want to open. Again, it has a lot to do with harsh judgment, perhaps a toxic family member, especially if they're an air sign, and money. It's all wrapped up, and it's very icky, and it will really make you want to open those wounds, and you just shouldn't do it. Don't do it. In fact, perhaps the best thing that you can do is admit whatever culpability you had or didn't have in it, and just get out of it. If it's a situation that's occurring between people, just, you know, respectfully back out. If it's something that's happening over email or text or something, stop responding. If it's something that's happening in a romantic relationship, it's really time to reevaluate that relationship. When you admit whatever your part of something was, it becomes a lot easier to do what's good for you. Because until you can truly take accountability and responsibility for whatever your part was, it's very hard to have a realistic grasp on what you need, because you're not looking at reality. Once you're in reality, once you've taken full accountability, then you can truly assess the situation, because you see through your own ego and you can say, this is what I need. And that's great. And I think that January gives you that clarity, because it makes you examine your relationships in a way that's not confrontational. There's nothing aggressive happening. There's nothing aggressive happening between you and anyone. There's no conflict. This is a very internal process. And so there's no need to have your defenses up. You're not thinking from a place of ego. And you're able to, in a safe way, because you're doing it alone, you're able to admit some stuff that ultimately makes it so much easier for you to identify your needs and to ask for them, or provide yourself with what you need. I love you. Let's look at these cards.
Hi Pisces, welcome to the second part of your January reading. So if you're wondering, my eyes were really irritated because the shirt I was wearing was giving off a pink or peach and golden glitter dust. And I don't think you could actually read it very well on camera, so you couldn't see it. But if you when I tried taking a photo with an Instagram filter, it was sparkly. All the air around me was sparkly. That's how much of this dust was in the air. And it just kept getting in my eyes. And I couldn't figure out while I was taping what was going on. So I was just kind of trying to soothe my eyes and do the reading at the same time. And I think, as with everything, don't give me an instance because I'm going to somehow make it relate. As with everything, I think it's very meaningful. This is not a time for you to be looking externally. This is a very deeply personal, spiritual, but also for you, spirituality is something solitary. It's something that's so deep within you, and that connection has nothing to do with anybody. This is a different kind of spiritual. This is the kind of spiritual, or let's say that the spiritual is being injected into this part of your life, and that part of your life being your connections with others. And that just makes sense because of what we're seeing, right? The sun is in Capricorn. It totally makes sense. But it's more than that. I think you've been doing the work, and I think you've been doing it for at least a year now, where you've been letting go of toxic people. A lot of you started saving your money, and you're beginning to see how maybe you're not even, maybe you're not at the point where you've let go of toxic people, especially because oftentimes Pisceans, the toxic people in their lives are their family. Yes, I know exactly how real that is, what I just said. Yes, it's true, right? So maybe you're not there yet, because yes, it's the hardest thing in the world to leave your family. Maybe you're not there yet, but maybe you started saving money. So you've done one of the two, and you've been able to see dramatic results just in a couple of months. And where are those results most prevalent? In your mood, in your sense of security, in your sense of capability in yourself. Because I think that's the other thing that we often overlook when it comes to people who are emotional. People who are emotional and deeply sensitive and in touch with their feelings also want to feel capable. We're not crazy about the idea that everyone else has about us, that our emotions make us not as efficient. I mean, listen, if we're going to tell the truth, let's tell the truth. Capricorn season, this is what it brings out of me. Capricorn season is like Capricorns. Let's put it all on the table. It is quite a hurdle to jump. When people know that you're an emotional person and you're really wearing your heart on your sleeve, anyone can tell that you're an emotional person just by looking in your eyes. It's very difficult, the stigma that can come with. And one of those being that perhaps this person is not quite as capable as someone who was cold, right? Now, if you look at the other side of the axis, Virgos are seen as extremely capable and are very good at hiding all of their emotions. So there you have it, right? The proof is right there. But as we know about the axis, that both signs are capable of both things. Whatever the other one is, the other one is, and vice versa. So inside, and those people who have worked closely with you in the past have experience with you, and they know that your emotional vulnerability is actually an asset, and that you're very productive, and that you have what it takes to bring something to fruition, and you are the master of bringing something to fruition, actually. But only when it suits you, only when it feels right. Now, for some people that's a liability. Okay, you're right, makes sense. There are a lot of business models where that doesn't work. But there are a lot where it does. And you'd be surprised at the fields where intuitive decision making is highly regarded and extremely necessary for success. Right? Now, as much as people from the outside can see you as emotionally vulnerable and therefore perhaps are making the assumption that you're not as capable, that bias also has an effect on you. We know from study after study that how people perceive us, we have a way of internalizing it. So even if you know down into your bones that you are very capable, if you've got to walk uphill against this push all the time and having to, for all intents and purposes, prove yourself with every step, right? I can see how, one, that would get exhausting, but two, how that would, permeate. It would get into you. Even though you don't believe it, it would start to, And then there you have that imposter syndrome that Aquarius is dealing with right now, right behind you. Right? And all of this stuff that everyone's dealing with, you have to realize that you, as a Pisces, all of it gets dumped on you. You feel what they all feel when they're feeling it. That's why when you see them, you know they're feeling it. You think that you're walking around in the world with this very sensitive antenna, and when you meet people, you're picking up on their specific emotions. What I'm telling you is that you are having a completely comprehensive and cohesive experience of everyone who's feeling everything, and all of it is being channeled like a spiritual supercomputer, like a psychic supercomputer mainframe into you. When you see people and how they're feeling, you're not picking up on their feeling as much as you are remembering that you felt this for them already. You're feeling this with them. That's why you see it. Do you understand what I'm saying? You're recognizing it because you're feeling it with them, because all of their experiences are being felt by you. Not in that moment either. No, this is something that you're downloading all the time, and when you run into people, you're like, oh yeah, I've been feeling this from you. Or I've been feeling, yeah, I had this feeling. I had no idea that later I would meet the person that's originated. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, to anyone who's not a Pisces who's watching this, either they checked out like 5 minutes ago, or they're scoffing, right? But every Pisces is like, right, okay, this is making sense. Because a lot of the time, the thing that Pisces aren't going to tell you is that they're not just picking up on your emotions. It kind of is like deja vu. Like your feelings sometimes to a Pisces can be like, wait, I felt this, but like, I already knew this was going to, and Pisces will joke with you about it. Like, I knew you were going to feel that before you woke up this morning. If they're like the ballsy type of Pisces. Usually you guys aren't. So, usually you keep your superpowers to yourself because you understand that we come from thousands and thousands of years of cultural conditioning to be afraid of people like you. I'm just being real. So you guys have learned to just keep all of your shit under wraps. Because what we're talking about right now, the level of psychic ability that we were just alluding to, is astounding. And every single one of you knows what I'm talking about. Because you've had these experiences, you've had these feelings. Right? So when you start to feel this push now the spirituality is being applied to a part of your life that, sometimes you can be really, really intelligent in many, many ways, but then when it comes to your love life especially, but also just your ties with people, you can be a bit of like a bimbo. And it's chosen. It's a contrived bimbification. Like the thing that's really popular on TikTok right now, that girl reading her list of, I get it. The satire is amazing because I think you guys do that. I think you have a tendency to willfully be ignorant because it must get exhausting to know and feel and already have downloaded all this experience. Like you already know what's about to happen. It must feel exhilarating to step out of the flow of that and do something, let's for a lack of a better word, call it stupid, because at least this stupid person and this stupid experience is something that you can't really account for. This dude or this girl is so dumb that even your highly intelligent, highly psychic ass can't tell what just foolery is about to go on here. And that's exhilarating, because at least you don't know what's going to happen next. And sometimes that's all you want, because here's the other thing that you guys don't tell anybody, because it's such a source of pride for you that you are so plugged in, you know, and even that's not right. You're not plugged in. You are the flow. You are the flow. What you can't tell people about being the flow is that sometimes even the flow is exhausted. Even the flow wants to step away from the flow. So there is a really bent appeal to people who, for whatever reason, are able to lure you out of that and give you just a little bit of space where you don't have to be the hive mind, where you don't have to be the collective. You get to be just one of you. And usually it's a person who looks at you and they don't see all the 12th house swirling around you. They don't see that void of knowing everything. They just see one person. They just see you, right? Pisceans love people who notice like the very particular things about them. I mean, who doesn't? But it's like Pisceans like really like when people like their idiosyncrasies, because they feel so individual. You know, and those are the type of people who will get you to step out and meet them outside of what is ostensibly your power zone. You know, and usually someone like that, someone like you from the outside is a really easy mark, because anyone who's a bit observant and has not the best intentions can just learn a bunch of shit about you, be really observant, and then can repeat the stuff back to you, and you'll be enamored with them because they've seen you as an individual. Meanwhile, the whole time they're just manipulating you. Do you understand what I'm saying? They know that's what you need. Some people who have nefarious intentions, now there are other people who have very good intentions and they can also see what you need, and those are the people you fall in love with, but you have just as much of a chance of falling in love with the other kind. Okay? So what I'm telling you is, this is a time where you get to build, through your examination of your relationships with others, you get to build a relationship with self. And that relationship with self is what individuates you. It makes you feel like, yes, I'm a part of this really powerful collective, right? But I'm also me. And when you start putting more and more power into that, and you'll notice the Pisceans who are the most powerful and stand the most resolute in their power, they're very individualized, right? It's the car with all the bells and whistles and packages and features, and they get highly specified in their look and how they are, because it feels good and it feeds a part of them that used to have to be fed externally, and they have learned how to feed it internally, therefore robbing any external nefarious force from its power. Boom. That's what January wants to teach you. That's what I was trying to get out yesterday when this fucking peach gold dust was attacking my eyelids and my contact lenses. Okay, and you see it. You see how it's playing out here. Now let's talk about money, because this is also tied to money. Pisces is the sign that I have seen that will let their money go to shit very easily when they are emotionally disrupted, or they're heartbroken, or they feel like somebody has wronged them. It's like you just forget that there is this thing that you have to do that's really important to your survival. You just check out. And I get it, because this is such a material system, but you can't check out in Capricorn season. And regardless of what is going on right now, we need to reprioritize. And that's one of the other things that happens for you in January into February. You learn how to give yourself that individual attention, how to make yourself more and more unique, right? By feeding that and giving yourself that attention, you rob the external from that power. And then you start applying this new, shiny, very strong, fortified sense of self. You start applying that sense of self to your purpose, and you start making this money. And then you leave yourself super open because you feel capable, you feel strong, you can deal. Whatever's happening out here, you're on top of it. Whatever happens to come by in the flow, there's no wave that's gonna hit you that you don't know about. Do you understand what I'm saying? You know already. And you apply it in the most sublime way to your finances, and it just grows and grows and grows. Be careful that you keep all your legals how they should be. Stay very much on top of, like, you know, what papers, what licenses, whatever you need to do. Stay on top of everything. But also understand and revel in the fact that you feel secure enough to kind of let go and let God. You do your part. Of course, like you're supposed to. Absolutely. That's your job. But there is such a sweet surrender here because you feel so good and you feel so capable, and you're learning to give yourself something that's always been needed from the outside, so you feel very independent. And the way that we love the divine, the relationship we can have with God when we are independent of other people or things or stuff, that's non-attachment. That is the ultimate goal. So you will see during the course, inshallah, of this month, that your relationship on that side grows as well. And you have to remember, that side, that's your side. That's your power place. That's where you come from. That's what you live in. That's what you are. You don't live in the void. You are the void. Right? That from which all creation comes. The completely mysterious. The completely opaque to us. We have no idea. We just know that you're from there and you know. Imagine how good it will feel to not have to hear somebody else say it, to know it yourself and to be feeding yourself that on a daily basis. Imagine how much of what you do to sabotage yourself you can leave behind when you get into the habit of doing that. It's looking pretty good. Just save your money. I know, just little petty comment. It's not even petty, just like I'm being, that annoying mom. I'm sorry, I'm a mom. I can't help it. Like, even the way I say mom, we all say mom like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I can't help it. It's just something that happens to you. Your genes change, whatever. I know you feel good. I know you're looking at your bank account and you're thinking, oh my God, this bitch told me not to spend money and I didn't spend money. And now I have money in my account. And like, really now I feel like it's okay to spend money. No. No, not yet. Not yet. Because listen to me. Your birthday's coming. Okay? The difference between you saving until your birthday and not saving until your birthday is going to be night and day for your actual season, for your actual birthday. So if you really don't see the long-term benefits of saving, because this is all material, I get it. To a Pisces, like, who cares? It's all made up anyway. I get it. But the thing is, you have to remember that everyone thinks your world is made up. Now, you and I both know that your world is the real world. This shit is all made up. But people out here where you live, where your physical corporal body lives, thinks that where you live is made up. And that this world is real. So since we need to move in this world, right? You get what I'm saying? Then you need money. You can't get to the point where you throw your hands up in the air and you say, you know what? I don't really need this because this is like not my thing and it's not where I'm from and it's not my... Yes, but you are here. and you're going to be here, inshallah, for a while. And what you're slowly learning with every dollar that you don't spend, okay, because this is a commitment you're making to your own future happiness. What you're doing is you're building your self-esteem. You're showing yourself how strong and capable you are of keeping a promise to yourself. Now, what happens when you start keeping promises to yourself? Aside from the fact that obviously there will be financial benefit for you and the resulting psychological security, which will put you in a better mood. It will also teach you how it feels when someone keeps their commitments to you. So when you're around people that don't honor commitments, you will immediately, right away, right off the bat, you'll be able to smell it on them. You understand what I'm saying? There are many, many benefits for you in January, but they're all internal. This is an extremely spiritual process, but it involves your connections with others, your connections with money, and how those three things are really triangulated. So take your time, triangulate it, take your time, do the internal work, really fall off the map for a little while if you need to. You don't need to be out here just whatever. You don't need to be doing this. Right? Let these different transformations hit you. Allow yourself to really, embody these realizations. Be disciplined. Do right by yourself. Save your money. And watch. In a couple months, in your season, not that you're not already, but here you are, this bright, shining light. Feeling good, feeling safe, feeling secure, feeling such a sense of sovereignty. That's the goal. Love you. I'll see you in the extended.